Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/LTURAM. Choose from 180,000 titles from your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Welcome to another episode of Listen to Us Rant About Movies. I'm Wes Ford.
I'm Zach Harris.
And what we do is we rant about movies and drink while we do it. Today we have a special guest joining us. We have Kelly Herreid. Welcome to the show.
Hello! Here I am.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm doing great tonight. Excited to be here.
Kelly's our first female guest. This is a shame.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm a trailblazer.
Yeah. So, on this episode, we're going to briefly discuss what we've been watching, and then we'll rant about the much-divided film, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. It's going to be good. If you like what you hear, remember you can find other episodes of our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Tonight, I am drinking St. Bernardus Christmas Ale.
As am I. I finally found the same kind. What do you know?
Amazing.
It's a sturdy 10%er, so we'll see how we're doing later on, you know.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Kelly, what are you drinking?
And then I am drinking a Neapolitan milk stout. It's by Saugatuck Brewing Company. It's only 6%, so, you know, I might be the level-headed showrunner by the end of things.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, let's, why don't we give it a little sip? A little taste.
Good sip going.
Cheers.
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 Clink.
How's that milk stout?
Oh, it's great. Milk stouts, I'm not usually a beer person, but milk stouts are like pretty much my go-to at this point. This one I really like because it's, it has like an actually like nice fruity like strawberry, like you can actually taste like the strawberry type flavor. Yeah, and it's not, the chocolate gets a little lost, but it still has that kind of a little bit of the bitter like coffee-ish flavor that goes with the stouts. But for me, the big draw is the strawberry kind of lingering taste at the end. It's really cool.
Nice. Sounds good. I gotta
Yeah.
try.
Nice, yeah.
I'm a stout
Sounds real
boy.
tasty.
I like me my stouts, so.
Oh,
Gotta put it
perfect.
on
Yeah,
the
you gotta
list.
try this one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm liking the Christmas ale. It's like it's a Belgian Abbey ale.
Yeah.
And
Bernardus
clearly
is he's a good boy, you know?
he is. It's a little Christmas theme. It's a monk with a Santa hat holding a beer.
Oh, adorable.
Yeah. Pretty nice. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
digging
it's really
it.
tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's move into our watch lists. Zach, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
All right. Well, I watched My Neighbor Totoro for the first time. I had never seen it.
Oh, for the first time, that's so much fun.
Yeah,
I love
it was
that movie.
it was list of shame movie for me, and boy howdy, was it just fantastic. Just a fantastic movie. All about it.
Yeah, it's like, to me, like pure delight. You know, if you could like distill delight into a movie, it's pretty much that.
Totally. Totally. Yeah.
I've never seen it. Always wanted to see
You
it.
gotta
check
get
it
on
out,
board.
man. You should
Get on
check
board
it
the
out.
cat bus and go to Totoro. Yeah.
Yeah. I was having like kind of a crummy day, and I was like, you know what, this is a good choice right now.
Oh yeah.
And I just had the biggest smile on my face by the end, and it was just so much fun, and the animation's so impressive, and the characters are so cool looking, and he wasn't in it as much as I thought he was gonna be, after having like heard about it for so long, which was actually really nice. I liked that he was like reserved for like really like special moments, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a fantastic movie, and really got to watch more of his stuff.
Yeah, that's always what I say to myself. I need to watch more of that stuff.
Seriously, it's so good. And then the other thing I've been watching, which I haven't finished, but I'm like 4 episodes in, is Wormwood, the new Errol Morris documentary.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Which
I have not heard about this at all.
It was commissioned. It's a Netflix series. It's like a 6-part miniseries, directed by Errol Morris, and it's half like interviews and half like recreations, but they like cast actors and stuff, and there's dialogue, which is like pushed a little further than some of his previous stuff has been, which is interesting. And it's all about like a guy who's like slipped LSD by the CIA and then like wound up dead. And his son's like obsession with figuring out what happened.
Right.
And it seems like a huge cover up.
Yeah.
And man, is it good. It is real good.
I gotta check it, man. It sounds awesome.
Gotta check it. It's amazing.
And it's on Netflix?
Yeah, it just came out like last weekend, I think.
Awesome.
But yeah. It looks, the cinematography is just tip top. And little side note, got that, I'm a 4K boy now. Got that
yeah, that's right.
Got that Ethernet plugged in. Watching that 4K Wormwood
so
is
my God.
Pretty choice, I gotta say. Pretty choice.
He's joined the club.
I've joined the club.
Yeah,
No player yet. I don't have a player, so I'm just testing out streaming stuff for the moment. But boy, does that Wormwood look nice and tasty.
So wormy and wood-like.
Yeah, very earthy flavor.
So the 2 things I've been watching, I bought the Criterion of this a while back, but I finally got a chance to watch it. I watched Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me, the movie.
Nice.
And I gotta say, Twin Peaks is a show that I recently finished, but it's never a show that I really fully understood the love for it. I never fully got like why people just love this show so much. There are things that I liked about it, and there's a lot of things I don't like about it. But it's sort of like the thing where I just want to get through it and then get to the new show that just goes on.
Yeah.
So this was one of those steps. And I got to say, watching this movie gave me a little more faith. It was like, all right, I like this movie. And I think it's because it had more of a purpose. You know, it kind of had more of like, this is what it's trying to say. And maybe it's a little more obvious. But yeah, I feel like it actually had a point to it.
Right.
And I liked it. I was like, okay, now I understand like what this is about and like what this is, you know? Because most of the show, there's so many episodes, it's just like I couldn't understand the like overall vision of the entire thing.
Yeah.
And Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me kind of like brought that into perspective, having the prequel and leading up to the murder and everything, and like the motives behind everyone. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool.
And I guess probably kind of the Twin Peaks vibe, but more like distilled because it has to be done in like a, 2 hours or whatever, versus spread out over.
Yeah, exactly. The movie is much darker than the show.
Oh yeah,
too. It's like super dark.
I feel like the show kind of suffers from, like, I know the intention when they were making it is like there's the mystery. And then they kind of solve the mystery, and then it just kind of becomes a show about the people in the town. And it's like, in the second season of the show, it's like, I don't know, you kind of need the mystery. Like, these are good characters, but for me, it's all about, like, what's going on in, like, the whole weird, unexplainable, like, surrealist stuff that's going on. So I think the movie plays to that much more, and is way scarier. Because there's concepts in the show that are scary. But they're really able to, like, go for it in the movie. And I think the new series is more a reflection of the style of the movie than the previous show.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
I like that.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say that David Lynch originally, like, didn't even want to ever have the mystery solved. He just wanted to just, like, keep it open forever. And then the big studio was like, no, you got to do something with this.
You got to solve the mystery.
Yeah, you gotta keep it going. And he was like, I guess. Yeah. I guess we have to have an answer.
Yeah. Yeah, and that happened like in the near the middle of the second season, right? And it was like, and then after that, it was just like, why am I even watching this?
Yeah, it's like, and we're still going. We're still going.
It's like still a bunch of stuff happening. Like, why isn't?
Yeah.
Why'd you tell me this?
You can feel when David Lynch leaves. You know, it feels different. So it was nice to have the movie with his stamp on that. So yeah, that's Twin Peaks Firewalk with me. Looked real good on Criterion.
Need to get that crit.
It looked great.
Are you gonna watch real quick? Are you gonna watch the Missing Pieces thing?
I want to.
I still haven't seen that, and it upsets me every time I think about it. I guess the Twin Peaks movie, the original cut was like over 5 hours or something.
Oh my god.
So they cut out all of the other characters and just focused on Laura Palmer. So this is like the assembled footage of all the other storylines that they cut out, and it's like 90 minutes long. So it's almost like a new Twin Peaks movie.
Oh wow, I really like that idea. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Very intrigued to watch that.
So the other thing I watched was The Farthest. It's a documentary on Netflix, and it was fascinating. It's a fascinating thing because, for one, I love space. I love everything about space, and you could say I'm a space nerd. And you guys both know, I think, that I have a tattoo of something from the Voyager satellite, which is what this documentary is about. It's about the Voyager satellites and the history of, like, them being built and their entire mission, and then where they are now, which is, it's the first man-made object to leave the solar system, which is just kind of crazy when you think about it. Like,
pretty amazing.
Holy shit. There's a thing that we made that's floating out there with information on it that's going to last for billions of years. And yeah, I just find that completely fascinating. And this documentary kind of goes into the process of that and like everything that it discovered and like what a crazy concept that is and what would happen if aliens found it and all this really cool stuff. So if you're into that, I'd say check it out. It's on Netflix and it's really well made, so worth a watch.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it for me. What about you, Kelly? What have you been watching?
Okay, so I have been mostly focused on TV lately, just because it's been a little too much of like a commitment to like sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna watch, a 2-hour movie, and I don't really like breaking movies up. Like if I sit down, I want to watch the whole thing. Yeah. So I've been more with TV because it's more bite-sized chunks. I can be like, okay, watch one episode and then go do something else, stop, come back to it. So I just recently got Hulu, so I've been loving that. And I've been I've been on kind of a 90s binge. So one of the things, one of the things that I just finished season 7 of Seinfeld.
Nice.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. Because my dad was like a huge fan. When it was first coming out and loved it so much, and I hadn't realized just how much like I osmosised through my childhood. Yeah, I get through like 10 minutes through an episode, and then I'd be like, oh, this is the one where Jerry and Kramer, they drop the junior mint in the guy, and I'd like repeat the whole episode in my mind. It was weird to like for all of that to click in my mind. It's like I hadn't realized how much I was just storing up in there, just waiting for it to come out again.
Totally.
But it's still really funny, and a lot of it holds up really well. Obviously it's dated because it's the 90s, but a lot of like the humor, it's still relevant, and it's funny to see all of the things from Seinfeld that kind of entered the pop culture, and then like the greater culture, So many things that it's just, the yada yada and so many, like the long talker and like random things that you're just like, oh, hey, look, I know that. And
Yeah,
then, you know, it's fun to, like, watch all the plot lines, like, click together when it's like, okay, and you sort of can see where it's like, oh, no, and now this is when, you know, that person's gonna find out this, and then this person's gonna, and then Susan's dad's gonna give him the cigar, and then the cabin burns down, and then everyone's surprised. I really love
plays off that really
that.
well. Yeah, it's
yes,
like
exactly.
it wants you to know where it's going, but it's more fun that way in a certain way. You're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like why did he say that? They're gonna know, or you know, whatever it is.
You know what it does is the like dramatic irony where it's like we the audience know so much, so we can see like all the foibles, everything that it's gonna end up like point A to point B to point C, and it's just great watching all that play out.
Totally.
And then the other thing that I've been watching is the 90s Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the one that was on old school TGIF on ABC.
Classic.
Yeah. I started watching it because first of all it was on Hulu and I was like, yeah! And then because they're making the new series on Netflix because Riverdale got so popular. But yeah,
they're making a new season.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, they're making a new one.
Crazy.
Originally, it was going to be a spin-off of Riverdale, but then Netflix just bought it, and so they're just going to produce it, and it's going to be like its own separate thing. Because Sabrina originally came from Archie. Like, Archie Comics is where Sabrina got started.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. So that makes sense.
Yeah, the new series is going to be
Riverdale.
darker or whatever. Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, hey, Archie's a hot commodity right now. We gotta grab up all those Archies, which is weird, but whatever. But yeah, the new one's going to be like darker, and it's going to be more based on the Chilling Tales of Sabrina comic, which is like comically dark. It's just like everything is dark. But I wanted to watch the like quote-unquote original to me one, which was the 90s series, and like it's funny because like it's obviously corny, you know, being like a TGIF ABC family comedy.
Sure.
But it can still be pretty funny, and there are sometimes where they get like a really good gag in, and I'm like, hey, that's like good job, guys, you like did legitimate humor and like an ABC family sitcom. And then also, something that's crazy is how much of the shows that Sabrina wears, or the clothes that Sabrina wears, how many of them have like come back into style? Because I'm looking at things and I'm like, yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, like I could see my younger sister, like wearing some of these clothes, and some of them I'm like, wow, she looks pretty sharp. It's like weird having seen that, like the wheel in action, you know?
Yeah.
Totally.
So yeah, it's been really fun.
The 90s style's back.
Yeah, oh yeah, back in a big way. Except some of the things have not come back, like the weird button down, like short sleeve shirts are less in style than they were back then, but who knows, maybe they'll come back around.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've been up to lately, a lot of 90s television.
Nice, that's good. Take advantage of that Hulu, you know?
Oh, I am. I'm living it up. I'm living the dream.
Hulu's pretty great. There's some good stuff on there. Mm-hmm. We had it for a little bit, but yeah, good stuff.
Does it stream 4K? Is Hulu 4K?
I think it does. I mean, most things do now. If you have the option, it's on there.
Gotta check out what's on Hulu. You know?
Catch up. Golden Girls 4K.
Yeah, Golden Girls 4K.
Be Arthur.
Yeah,
get on that.
really push the limits of the TV. You know what I mean?
Show me every wrinkle on Sophia's face.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Give it to me. Give it all to me. Amazon Prime, by the way, too, also has 4K. So.
I popped on the Prime. I was excited. It's like a smart TV or whatever, and I can never watch anything on Amazon Prime because I only had a Chromecast and it didn't support it. So I would have to like cast my whole desktop to my TV and it would run terribly. So I'm excited I can actually watch things on Prime. It's like I've been paying for this for how long and never using the video. Totally.
There's so many things, yeah. Oh, man. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for our watch lists. Let's get to
Wes?
The real good... Yeah.
I gotta hold you just for a second.
Oh.
I had something I wanted to... I told you I wanted to bring up something. Just a little... I wouldn't quite call it a beef, but I need an explanation.
Oh no.
So I'm on Letterboxd. I'm logging something. I click on your profile. I'm looking, seeing what you're doing. This is almost a month ago. This was previous to the other cast, but I forgot to bring it up. And I see you watched Speed Racer, and you gave it a 2.5 out of 5. And I just want to know what's going on.
When's the last time you watched this movie?
I don't know.
Every day of my life.
It was a couple years ago for sure.
1 hour ago.
I watched it on the car drive home from work today, and it was fantastic.
I don't know. I had heard so many good things about Speed Racer.
Hold on.
I guess we're going to talk about Speed Racer.
This was a first-time watch? This was not a rewatch?
This was a first-time watch.
Crazy.
I've never even seen it, so...
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I skipped that one.
Well, I had heard so many good things, so I actually borrowed it from someone. I was like, you know what? I'd never seen this. Always wanted to see it. Watched it. Kind of a big disappointment. I don't know. It's, I don't know. I couldn't do it. There were things that I definitely like. I love the cartoony aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love how silly it is, and I like how the style of it. It kind of it tries to be a real life cartoon, which is kind of cool.
It's admirable.
But the plot is so bad. The plot is just really bad.
Aww.
And I'm sorry, Zach.
But that ending though, where it's cross-cutting with him winning the race and Susan Sarandon, and then he's talking about the time that he watched the race with his dad, and it's cross-cutting between all these things. It's amazing. Did you at least?
This movie?
Yeah, she's really good.
Pretty good cast.
Yeah, John Goodman
as
really well.
Good cast. Yeah, John Goodman.
You're telling me during that scene you didn't have a little smile on your face?
I gotta say,
you weren't smirking a little bit.
Stony faced,
glaring
down Susan Sarandon.
Yes, about halfway through the movie, I got pretty bored. Bored.
Killing me over here. You're killing me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clear that up. You know, I just needed. I felt like I needed an explanation. And you know what? Your opinion is your opinion. I respect that. But I felt like I needed to know why. You know what I mean?
You needed it. All right. Well, there you go.
It's not even a 3. 2.5. Not even a 3, Wes. Come on, man.
Not even a 3.
Come on.
It doesn't hold up, bud. It doesn't hold up.
Honestly, I'm watching it this weekend. I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Next time.
Next cast, it's a Speed Racer showdown, man.
I love it. All right. So, anyway, what I was gonna say was, let's get to our review of The Last Jedi, starting right now.
When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. And beyond that, something truly special.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I need help.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now. Let the past die. Kill it. If you have to. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be.
need someone to show me my place in all this.
All right, so we're just going to do a non-spoiler section here, okay? We're just going to talk about our general thoughts. Really try not to spoil anything, just very broad opinions. This will probably be our shorter section.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have a lot of fun in our
It's
spoilers.
gonna be like, liked it. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Look good. It was cool, dude. All right.
It's a Star Wars movie.
There's some stars and some wars.
Multiple.
Maybe a Jedi.
Maybe a Jedi. Maybe a lightsaber.
Maybe.
I don't know. So, just to give a kind of like an introduction into this, let's talk about a little bit of like where it's at right now, right? Like, so the movie, it's doing pretty well in the box office, but we can talk about, I mean, I think everyone knows it's pretty divided, right? Like,
Yeah.
there are people that like hate this movie. There are people that absolutely think like this is the best Star Wars movie ever. There are people that are like kind of wishy-washy. It's like very divided, but critics seem to really like it, and audiences like kind of split. So with that being said, Kelly, what are your general thoughts of The Last Jedi? How did you feel about it?
Liked it. Good. It's so hard because it's so hard to talk about without going into like any spoilers, because I feel like so many things that I like about it go into like overarching spoilers for the movie. So not even necessarily, it's hard to say the things that I liked without talking about how things were at the end of the movie, basically, and like what the status quo was. But yeah, so basically I really liked it. I don't think I loved it.
Okay.
But I really liked it a lot. It did a lot of things that I didn't expect. It had some things, a lot of things that I expected plot-wise, but then it would kind of turn it on its head and then like flip it around so that it's like it didn't have the outcome that I thought it was going to, basically. And I really liked that about that. I liked that it took my expectations and it kind of played with them, it was like, and this is the part where this happens. And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, like in this other movie. And then it's like, but wait, now everything's crazy. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I liked that about it. I thought it was really cool. And it was cool going into a movie and getting to the end. And this isn't really a spoiler. It's just kind of getting to the end and being like, I have no idea what's going to happen after this. Just like no clue where things are going. And I'm kind of excited by that. I'm really excited to see where things are going to go.
Totally.
Exactly. I'm too. I'm with you on that. But I'm going to pass it to Zach. What did you think?
I definitely liked it. I liked it more than The Force Awakens, but I was a little disappointed. And I think it was because I had very high expectations. I felt like, for me, I was kind of like hinging the future of Star Wars on how good this movie would be. It's like Force Awakens wasn't as good as I wanted, and it was like, Rian Johnson's doing the next one. It'll be good.
Yeah.
And then Rogue One was like, it wasn't great, but it was like pretty good, and it was like, okay, like, you know what? They're a step in the right direction. Can't wait to see that next one, though. And then I do think that there was a lot of really cool stuff, but the stuff that I liked the most was like small and like in moments. And those moments are awesome. And there's one specific moment that I was blown away by. Best thing in the whole movie. I guess I shouldn't say it. It's not really, doesn't hinge on anything, but we'll get into spoilers. But yeah, for me, structurally, I think was the biggest problem for me. It felt like the stakes were so high that it was trying to be like a really like frantic, like, there's not much time that passes during the movie. And I felt like they spent time on a lot of things that were just like, why are they not like just freaking out right now about what's going on? It's like there's literally like the villain behind them shooting at them, but it feels like it's taking place over the course of a long period of time. But it's probably like what, like 2 days or something?
It's real. It seems really short. Yeah, just I'd say 2 days.
It's
gotta
very
be.
compressed. Yeah, just days.
Yeah, and there's specific things that we'll get into in spoilers that bothered me, but my main thing was that I just felt like some of the stuff wasn't earned, not necessarily in what happened to the characters, but just like being in the movie. Like, there were certain things that was just like, I don't know if I needed that when like all this other stuff was going on. There was just like a lot going on that I felt like if they maybe pared it down a little bit, it would have been like tighter and just a better like movie on its own.
Yeah.
But it's also it's a hard thing to judge because it's like this movie also, it's like it has to serve the previous movie that was the reboot of some like beloved series of movies that had failed before, but it had to come back even better and set it up for this whole new thing. And then he has to continue that and then also set it up for a finish of this whole storyline. So it's like,
and also bring it in a new direction.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a ton of baggage. So it's like, it's understandable. I'm not like, man, it blew, like that sucked. You know, it's, I get what happened. It's just like, I just didn't have the feeling when it was over that was like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, even Force Awakens, when I left, I was like, yeah, that was Star Wars, like, amazing, you know? And then I watched it again, and I thought about it, and I was like, oh, yeah, that, though? Like, that, though? You know what I mean? So, and it sounds like I'm being negative, like, super negative on it, but I did like it, and it was better. It's the best one of the new ones, for sure. But I feel like I can't talk about the stuff that I liked without ruining anything.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, my general opinion is, I really liked the movie, and the more I think about it, the more I like it. I do not think that it's without flaws, though. Like, I totally see where you're coming from, Zach. It has some real kind of structural issues. There's a whole section in the movie we'll talk about, which I think could literally just be lifted and get, taken out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't need to be in there at all, and it would be a much shorter, probably more enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you, Kelly, on the aspect of, I think that I liked being surprised. Like, it was constantly taking me in a way where I was expecting a certain result and just completely flipping that. And I think the continuous times it was doing that, like constantly flipping expectations, I think is what ultimately turned a lot of people off, because they're expecting this movie to be something from the start. We all had our own expectations. And then to have it go like so many times in a row of like, what is happening? Like, all these different things are changing and it's going in these completely different directions. I think people are turned off by that because they don't know how to feel. And I think ultimately, like, the general lesson of this movie is like, we have to just accept that this was a movie that was made to be, sending this whole saga into a new direction, right? And that was the task. That's what we wanted. After Force Awakens, that was kind of a rehash. That was the biggest complaint, was that it was just A New Hope, which I was fine with that. But
it was very safe.
That was the biggest complaint. Yeah, it was very safe. They had to make sure it was safe, and everyone was like, all right, this is where Star Wars is now.
Yeah.
Last Jedi had to be this movie of, all right, now everything's open to you. Take this and surprise us. And that's, it did accomplish that, right? It did accomplish what it set out to do, which is to completely take it in a new direction, be completely different, and be surprising. And I think it did deliver on that, because it is unlike any other Star Wars movie ever made. I think
totally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So in that respect, I think it succeeded, but maybe some of the execution wasn't completely perfect.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in the end, I really, really liked this movie. I saw it twice, and the second time I definitely liked it a lot more. And I actually can't wait to see it again. So I think I think after a second viewing, it really helps to kind of, because now you go into it kind of knowing what to expect. When before, like most Star Wars movies, I think Star Wars movies are just like different in general, right? We go in there, they're not like normal movies. You go in there and you're expecting a certain kind of movie.
Yeah.
And they're so big and they're so part of our entire culture, that you have these certain expectations and you're like judging every frame. So going into a second time was kind of like, I could just go in, I knew what to expect, and I kind of could just enjoy it. So, yeah. In the end, I really do like this movie. I think Rian Johnson was extremely brave for doing things this way, knowing that there would probably be backlash on some of this stuff and what choices he did make. But I'd rather be surprised, and not know what's next than to know every single beat in the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like,
I'd rather,
yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen next. I literally have no idea what's going to happen. And I think that's much more exciting than being like, so and so and so,
Yeah.
We could talk more about that. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, but I also think it's like, I feel like people got a little complacent knowing how things were going to, like, thinking that they knew
Right.
how things were going to go, and like rewatching the original trilogy, and even with the prequels, it's like when they were coming out, it's like you generally know the status quo that's
Yeah,
going to be at the end of the
exactly.
movies, because it's like Anakin has to fall to the dark side and blah blah.
Yeah.
But with these movies, I think this movie kind of shook people out of their complacency.
Yes.
To say, hey, slap, wake up. This ain't your grandmama Star Wars,
Yeah.
But in a way that's not obnoxious, in my opinion, in a way that feels very organic, I think.
Yeah.
To kind of the narrative. Well, of course, who knows? Maybe the next movie, Jar Jar Binks will show up and everything will be different. I'll be like, whoops, clearly they had no idea what they were doing. But at least from here, it seems like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think this movie too was it was more of a personal movie for Rian Johnson too. Like it felt like he had his own stamp on it. Like it has its own feel and look to it, and it looks so different. But the cinematography is like incredible.
Visually, it's the best. It's the best one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think visually of any Star Wars movie, I think visually.
Yeah.
There's some amazing shots
It's visually
I've never
beautiful
seen.
and exciting. Like the shots are like, and also not just the cinematography, but the editing is so
very cool.
New. It's new for Star Wars,
new.
and it's exciting and very cool. And it helps elevate that cinematography in a way that I think is, very, we haven't really seen that in a Star Wars,
No.
And all the Star Wars is.
Yeah. And it's cool having that in a universe that like we know so well, right? Like having that in Star Wars, but it's still Star Wars. Like it's still a Star Wars movie. It feels like a Star Wars movie, but it's one that we've never seen, and I think that's really cool. I'm excited that we got something different. That's what I wanted. I wanted something different. So.
Yeah. Another non-spoiler thing to note is I thought the score was really good.
The score was fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought, and also just like changed it up a little more than the Force Awakens score. In a good way.
Yeah.
There were a lot of like really nice themes, and like they reserved the big ones for the right times. And I thought the score was amazing. It was all about it.
The fact that it's coming from like a 90-year-old man, it's crazy.
How dare you call John Williams a 90-year-old man?
He's a genius. I love him.
Yeah, he's an absolute champion.
So good.
I've actually been listening to the soundtrack on Spotify just like while I've been working and stuff, and it's kind of cool because he like has little nuances on all the themes that we know, but only like little hints here and there, and then he like slowly builds it and like builds on the themes, and then it's so good. Like you realize like even just like a couple notes of a theme from one song are in like a part of a song, and it's like that's amazing.
And it's
just like a
effective.
little
It's like a little shot to your brain where you're like, oh wow, and you know, and that's this character, and that's when this happens, and it sticks. It really sticks with you.
Yeah,
totally.
It's so good. I love Ray's theme too.
Me too.
I won't say
I love it.
but when that comes on, that's just like my favorite. It's so good. Yeah. So, any last non-spoiler things you can think of? Just maybe about general production or what?
Liked it.
I don't know.
Good.
Good. Liked it. Star Wars.
Yeah, I think a lot of my further thoughts are going to be like, I think, you know, Zach mentioned like some of the pacing issues, and I had the same. I think we all agree that some of the pacing is like a little wonky at times around one specific area. Is where it's the worst, but we can't really go into the deets on that without spoilers.
I think if you haven't seen this movie and you're listening to this, don't listen to our spoiler review, for one. And two, what are you doing? Go see this movie right now.
Yeah.
It's Star Wars. Go see it. So
don't walk, run, or even better, take your pod racer.
Exactly. All right. So before we get into spoilers, though, I'd like to discuss a special deal that we have for our listeners.
Ooh.
Did you guys know? For the listeners, you guys of the Listen to Us Rant About Movies podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you an opportunity to check out their awesome service. This is an amazing deal. You can cancel your trial at any time. You get a free audiobook. It's incredible. So to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/LTURAM. Again, that's audibletrial.com/LTURAM for your free audiobook. It's amazing.
Do it! Do it!
All right, so now we will be getting into our spoiler section for The Last Jedi, starting right now.
Here we go. Crack the knuckles. Crack, crack.
Yeah.
Let the past die. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be.
Darkness rises, and light to meet it.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
Come on! This is not going to go the way you think.
All right, we are in spoiler territory now. We can talk about anything we want.
The gloves are off.
The gloves are off. Why don't we talk about what we didn't like, right? Zach, what didn't you like about this movie?
I thought I think the biggest thing, the thing we're all alluding to, that whole casino thing, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, what? What?
It's great. There's
Yeah.
lots of cool aliens. The
felt like it was
dog
from the
things are
prequels.
cool. Mm-hmm. But
But why?
at the end of the day, it's just like a menial task that was sourced from a video chat. You know what I mean? Like, they literally video chat Maz, is that her name? Maz something?
Yep,
Yeah,
Maz
Maz.
Kanata.
They video chat her, and that scene is personally the worst scene in the whole movie. Like, what is this? What are we doing right now?
I didn't think that, but it's not great.
I don't know. I thought that was pretty brutal. But literally like FaceTiming Maz Kanata and then it's
like,
just
it's like, why didn't they just use her? You know, why would they FaceTime her?
Yeah, that's true.
So she would be like, I can't do it, but this guy, it's like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not you? Were you busy?
Or also-
Were you doing
battle was
something
she
else?
in?
Yeah.
Yeah, what battle is she in?
Where were you?
Yeah, come on. It just felt like a weird excuse to get this character, like, into this movie. Mm-hmm. And it was like, number one, why is there not, have they not learned to use consistent holograms? Like, come on, guys. The holograms, you got the hologram. There it is in the old movies. They use it sometimes, and then other times it's like this photo reel with, like, an occasional, like, glimmer. It's like, just fucking...
I didn't really realize that before. But maybe it's like, you know, we use phones and Skype and video chat, so maybe there's, like, a scale of holograms, and, you know, it has to be very serious to get to a hologram-worthy conversation.
Because she's,
giant
like,
giant hologram head.
Yes. Or
she's...
from Force Awakens,
That's the
which
top
is
of the scale.
From Force Awakens, which is I'm drawing blank.
Snoke?
Emperor guy.
Yeah, Snoke.
Yeah, Snoke.
Yeah, Snoke.
He looks realistic. He literally looks.
Yeah,
Thank
I was
the
like,
Lord
is he just
they
a
ditched
giant
that.
man? That was weird. That was like one of the weirdest parts of Force Awakens, wondering whether Snoke was like 20 stories tall. It's like
it's like why is this? Why is this? Just so he's more intimidating?
What a weird thing.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord they ditched that. But
yeah,
that video chat maybe got a bad taste in my mouth for the rest of that, because that was also
section,
it also kind of plays into what I was talking about before, of like the clock not mattering seemingly in this movie. Like there is a hard clock on the lives of like all their companions, yet they're standing looking out over like the courtyard talking about like war politics and how like arms trade, and like
you could at least be walking and talking at the same time. Instead
and
of
it's
looking.
like those are cool ideas. They're cool ideas to like implement in the Star Wars universe. I do think that's interesting, but also like why
it could have been done better. It definitely could have been done more. See, that's that definitely didn't. It did feel kind of like inorganic to the narrative, where it's like, now we're gonna stop and talk about this thing, and it's like, but why though? Why do that?
Yeah, wouldn't you be running around like, holy shit, where's that guy? Like, you know, it's like, and they get locked up, and they're just like, well, shit, we're locked up. What are we gonna do now? Not like, holy shit, everyone we know is gonna die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just kind of like devalued the clock in a certain way, where it was just like, I don't know, they were trying to make the stakes seem so high, which they were, but then I feel like things like that and moments like that kind of like slow the pace down, which is fine to slow the pace down, but it like plays against the narrative in a way that it's just like makes it feel less important. If that makes sense. Yeah.
But then also, something that ties into that is that they're like, there's only one guy that can do this thing, and here's where you can find him. And then they're like, oh wait, never mind, here's this other guy who we haven't
Here's another guy.
It's like that kind of, you just went back on the thing that you did. If just like some random dude who you met in a jail can do it, like what, you know,
it's very weird.
You know?
Plus, there's no end result for them.
Yeah, and then it's just like, oh well.
There's no like, there's no like end result. There's no like, there's nothing that comes out of like the casino scene other than them like getting caught, so Finn could fight Chrome Dome. You know what I mean?
And also, it's like, why is he the only one that can like open a panel on a door and like solder wires? Like the thing that he didn't seem that impressive. No.
Well, he needed to get. My understanding was that they needed like him to get through the shields, because the shields was like the big thing that they were having trouble like
Fair enough,
getting into. But again, if Maz Kanata could have done it, and then the guy in the red with the red flower or whatever could have done it, and then this random dude that they found in a jail could have done it. Again, you're kind of devaluing the specific, like the specificity of this task.
Especially since it had to be the best hacker or the best code breaker in the galaxy.
And it's like what? Who is it? Yeah, why is Benicio del Toro like just a random drunk jail man? And it's like, I guess you'll do. You know, it's like what?
It's like, why didn't just maybe put out a quick fielder on the ship, just on the intercom. I was like, "Hey, anyone know how to like do that?"
Right? Yeah,
And,
just like
oh
patch us
no,
through.
no,
Yeah.
okay, we'll go find someone. But
Patch
just like
Maz
one guy.
Kanata through, you know? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, that whole sequence was just so weird. Like, and then it's like I started coming up with like explanations for my problems with it. I was like, okay, well maybe Benicio del Toro was at the table, but then the guy beat him in cards and like he took his little flower pin and then he had to go to jail. I started coming up with all these complicated explanations, but I don't even think they're like supposed to be true. It's just like something I made up to make more sense. This just doesn't make
It's
I'm
weird.
sorry, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Why are they?
It doesn't.
And then they also, at that part, like the guy with the red pin, the woman is like, "Hey, who are those people?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I thought the woman was then gonna be like the code hacker lady or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they put like weird focus on her, and then it's like
there's a shot of her close up of her
exactly,
face.
yeah. And so I was like, oh, it's gonna be like a mix up, and it's gonna turn out she's the hacker. Nope, it's just Benicio del Toro in jail. Like that's nope. That weird close up has nothing to do with it. That whole sequence could have been cut out.
It was strange.
Very
it
easily.
Was strange.
And
just chop it right
would
out.
have been lost. Just
because
just
all it
flip
is just like a task that they have to do. You know, it could just be like, you have to wait 1 day to open the shields.
Yeah,
that's what it is. And then they go,
it could have
all right.
Or it could have been like,
yeah.
Maz Kanata is the only one who could do that. So it's like, now we have to go, like, save her from her danger so she can come back.
Yeah.
And that makes way more sense than, like, you gotta go to this place and do this thing and get this person. Never mind, you can't get that person. Never mind, here's this convenient other person who I guess can do it. It's like, what?
Especially since she was, like, a big character in Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
continue her.
Yeah.
But also,
Why
all that
introduce
aside,
a
even
new
if you
character?
use her, it doesn't matter because it had no like effect on anything in the end.
It felt very video
had no
gamey.
effect on anything.
It's very video game level.
Yes, that is. I like how it furthered the whole arc of, in my opinion, I have a lot of feelings about this part. So the thing that I did like about it is that I liked how it furthered the narrative of, like, that you don't need to be a hero to save lives.
Yeah.
In the sense that it went in with, along with, like, Poe's plan, when it's like, you didn't even need to do any of that, guy, you know? It's like, these people know what they're doing, and now you, like, almost got all of your friends killed, and, like, all of these other people killed for, like, no reason. I like that, but again, there's definitely a better way to do that than this weird, convoluted scheme. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that is what they were going for.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. Like that's totally what they were going for, because like kind of getting into the larger narrative of the whole movie, like the entire point was like the Force doesn't belong to the the Skywalkers.
The Skywalkers doesn't belong to Jedi.
Everyone.
Yeah, exactly. It belongs to
You're not
the
necessarily
galaxy.
a hero. Exactly. That's like the whole point of the bless you. That's the whole point of the movie, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's totally what it was trying to say, but it just
again,
didn't
it could
work,
have been done
unfortunately.
way better than the way that they decided to. So sloppy and weird. I don't know. I'm like conspiracy theory. Like this was something that the studio wanted. Like they wanted a big CG chase scene with CG animals running all around, and Rian Johnson was like, "Okay, I guess," because his movies usually have really good pacing and plotting, and they're usually really together. And this movie is. Except for that one part that's just like totally bizarre.
It feels like
it
feels like a scene out of like episode 2 or something.
It does.
It also though
the chase away.
I'll say that I feel like the casino itself felt very Rian Johnson. Like it felt like I don't know the way that it felt like something that would be in like Brothers Bloom. Like the way that like you're panning across the people and they're all doing like one very specific thing, and just the way that it was shot, it like I feel like it catered itself to his style quite a bit. Like almost like.
But then
is that a good or a
narratively,
bad thing,
it's just
though?
so narratively.
I mean,
though, it just like it's so.
Oh, it
weird.
makes no sense.
It's weird.
It's like I think the scene is more interesting than if it was just like I don't know, like another random junk planet. But
well, I do think
if it
that,
needs
like,
to be
it's
there,
way
it was
too,
cool.
like it's like way too human of like a casino place. Like,
very true.
They're playing craps and like doing like slot machines.
They should be like throwing like slime balls and weird like alien holes.
This was an opportunity to kind of like. This was like an opportunity to like kind of have that like prequel technology. Like, why isn't the race like on like a laser ring like in the sky or something? You know what I mean?
Why
like,
are they real
animals
animals
like,
at all? Why aren't they like holograms? They don't have CG in this world. Like,
and
they're
using coins. They're using coins.
So many
they're
questions.
using like old school. It just felt like a human. Like a human planet.
It's just like Futurama where it's like, this just raises further questions. It's like, I feel like I have, what?
They definitely needed to be playing alien games. Like, the games needed to be...
Yeah, they need to be, like, more alien. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, like, I guess, like, the point why they did the casino thing was to bring attention to the kid who you see at the end. Yeah. Right? Like, so they had to do that. But, like, there's a better way to do that. He could have been, like, a little servant on the ship or something. You know, he could have been, like, a servant on, like... one of the Imperial ships, if you had to.
It's just like there are 1,000 ways you could have done that if you wanted to have that moment, and the way that they did it is like the weirdest moment. Shouldn't all those kids be fired? Like, why do they still have jobs? There aren't any more horse things there. What are they doing? Right? Yeah. Like, again, it just raises further questions. Like, why are they still there?
Not crazy about that whole thing in general.
The
little force boy.
I liked it because I liked that it was more about the Force, not like it doesn't belong to Jedi. It doesn't belong to the Skywalkers. The Force is its own. Yeah. It's kind of the Force is its own being, and it will live on outside of the Jedi, outside of the Skywalkers, and the hubris involved in thinking that like all it's good for is like moving rocks or whatever.
I like the message a lot about that.
I like it conceptually.
It was kind of corny, but I like it. It's Star Wars, of course it's gonna be corny, you know.
It's a little like buttony or like tying a bow on it.
It's very Disney.
Yeah,
the very end scene
it felt very like writery, I guess. But I like it conceptually for sure.
Yeah.
But just the way it was executed felt.
It took me a second. I saw it with my husband, and I was like, "Did he force pull the broom to him?" I was like, "Did I imagine that? Did the broom just like get blown with the wind? Are we supposed to think that he's force sensitive? I don't even know anymore. I don't even know what's going on."
Yeah.
I mean, that's so weird because it doesn't feel like Star Wars either. Like at the end, we've never seen a scene like that. You know, we've never seen like a kind of like a tie-up, wrap-up scene of like a completely different character. Like that's just, it was kind of crazy.
And it had the shot that they all end on. You know what I mean?
Of
just like, and like everyone's there. They are.
I thought that was going to be the end. Yeah. Yeah.
Ewok's going to come dancing in and banging on some stormtrooper helmets.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we all agree that like that casino thing doesn't work. Benicio del Toro doesn't work.
Yeah, just grossly overcast. I love me some Benicio.
Yeah,
but the most distracting casting is just like why is it Benicio del Toro?
Wondering how they managed to run into this random guy. It seemed like it was setting up a different plot line than the one that was. I keep harping on this, but it's because it was so weird to me. Like it's
super weird.
It bugs me because I'm just like, but why? Was it part of like another script where his character was like supposed to have set this up or something? Like what is going on?
I must have an explanation.
I need one. It's so bizarre.
I think another like reason why they had like Benicio del Toro do his thing and like kind of turn them in at the end was like to also have like another point of neutrality, you know, because there's light, there's dark. And what does that really mean? And then like he's kind of like in the middle, right? So I think that's kind of the intention, but yeah.
Well, to me, it's sort of. Sorry for interrupting.
No. Go ahead.
But for me, his character seems sort of like a counterpoint to Luke, where it's like both of them had basically given up, you know. Whereas Luke had given up in the sense of like he's just gonna live on his island and not doing anything because he doesn't feel like different tones of nihilism basically. Luke's very nothing matters. it's all gone to shit, so, like, who cares? Whereas Benicio del Toro was very, like, since nothing matters, I might as well get rich and play both sides, because, like, your fights are stupid and all this is stupid and it doesn't matter. So I did kind of like...
I'm not going to be involved.
Exactly, yeah. I liked, again, it's one of those things where it's like, I like the idea behind that, but it's just weird the way that the execution went about. It's just strange.
Yeah.
I think it also ties in for me that just, like, there's just too much stuff in this movie. Like, maybe that idea could have been good.
It's too long.
Yeah.
And like, played in and played well, but it's like, it's one in however many things. So it's like, we can't spend that much screen time on Benicio del Toro, this random guy who's only in this one movie. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know, he's in the movie. So it seemed, it was a weird in-between where it's like, it felt like it needed to be longer, but like, also, please don't make it longer. You know, make it shorter.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just didn't have enough time to develop everything.
I'd be okay with it being longer if there were less casino scenes. It's like, give me more scenes of meaning, less weird casino racetracks.
Which is kind of crazy to me because the movie feels long, but there is no like downtime at all. Like it is boom, 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 like scene, and it's constantly moving. That I almost wanted it to slow down for a little bit so I could like hang out with the characters, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's what I think Force Awakens did really well, is like you got to like hang out with the characters a little bit. Like you got to know Rey, like she was just like doing her thing, being Rey, like putting on the helmet, you know?
Yeah.
Rey being Rey,
the
like
scene of the bread,
like,
when she makes the bread, best scene in the whole movie. The bread was
Which one?
When she makes the bread. She pours the bread in the water.
I love
best
that.
scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Love that.
Which also,
bread.
that was a real thing that they made for that. Like
it's amazing.
Nice.
It's a physical object that's like growing. It's so amazing. So yeah, like I just like I said, like having it kind of slow down and like I wish I had more of like those character moments because it was just very fast paced.
Yeah, I think.
But also,
oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. You can go.
Oh, I was just gonna add to that it's like the slow moments that we did have, like Rose and Finn just like standing at the entrance of the casino and just looking around and talking.
Right,
to me, they seem very much
that's...
like this is the part where they're trying to slow down the movie because they know they have to because otherwise it's gonna get too overwhelming. But again, it feels artificial and
it did.
You know,
it's like, oh, I kind of like this town. Why don't you like this town? She's like, I just want to put my whole fist through this town.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, come on.
Yeah, and it's very, again, you know, kind of disserves when it's like, everything's gonna explode. We gotta start working now. And then it's like, let's just take a slow moment to like contemplate the evils of war.
It plays against what the movie's trying to do.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's like, it's trying to be this like relentless thing where everyone's freaking out. But also, I feel like there's scenes on the ship, like, about, like, the politics of what's going on, where everyone's just like, there's no plan. It's like, there's no plan. It's like, well, okay. And they're not like, ah! You know, they're just like all running. Yeah. Like, it was a weird in-between.
It's also having that slow moment. They're trying to, like, also shoehorn another, like, social issue in there about, like, 1%ers and stuff, which... I gotta say, a little sidetrack, I enjoyed that this movie was kind of about something, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was about something right now, and I don't think a Star Wars movie has ever had something to say about our society, and I think I love this one for that.
Yeah.
I love that it tried to say something. But the fact that it, like, shoehorned another social issue as an excuse to slow it down, you know... didn't work.
Just not enough time to develop that idea.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Lots of things in this movie are great conceptually, but it's so stuffed with things that it's just like, pick your battles. You know? It's like, these things would all be great if they were developed, but there's just like half of all of them, so it's just like a weird hodgepodge. At the end, for me at least.
Yeah, the only...
Okay.
Oh, sorry. What was that, Liz?
Go ahead. Do you have one more thought?
Oh, I was just going to say that I feel like the only fully developed idea that was my favorite part of the movie was the kind of through line about, you know, what makes a hero and how you can, and what makes a legend and how you can be heroic without having to, like, you know, get in a ship and blow things up. You know, I like that. That felt very that felt developed and also applicable to like the real world. But there were, it's kind of stuffed with messages to the point where it was a little
stuffed
like
with messages.
a little too much.
Yeah, because like at the beginning of the movie, which by the way, opening scene was fucking amazing.
All right, the opening battle and scene and everything is awesome.
Okay, but that is like the
awesome.
worst design for a bomber ever.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like what it like
100%.
Also, it's
they
in
get
space.
bumped
So
and they
did
all
it
blow
bother
up?
you guys
What?
that they can drop the bombs in zero gravity?
Yeah, yes. And one
Yeah,
starts like
it's a little
falling
goofy.
in space. I'm like,
I
where are you
realized
going?
that after.
It's definitely goofy, but at the end of the day, it's like whatever. It was
It's
cool.
Star Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Star
But
Wars.
they-
You gotta let things go like that.
They plant the seed of the interesting idea of like you in all the other movies and in movies like this, you don't cut inside the ship to see what's happening with the person who presses the button to drop the bombs. You know what I mean? And like that scene is awesome.
Yeah.
And
that's
then-
a
It's really
great
well.
scene.
It's really well made.
Yeah,
it's
and
like really
then-
well done and shot and everything.
Totally. And then after that, you have the whole concept of like, yeah, they were successful, but like, look at
At
all
what
these people
cost?
who just died. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I feel like
Right.
they say that in other movies, but it doesn't really set in. You know what I mean? And they make a good point of doing that at the beginning of this. And that's just another concept that's there. And then it just goes, and just kind of like farts off the rest of the movie.
Well,
it
I
comes back a
defend,
little
I,
bit.
I defend that
Comes
section.
back a little
I
bit.
defend that
Yeah,
section
I'm
for
gonna
one
disagree,
reason.
and let's see what Wes has to say because I have strong feelings about this.
My defense of that is that it serves the purpose of, again, talking about how the Force belongs to everyone. And the point of that scene is for her to be in that situation. She holds her necklace. She uses the Force to knock the clicker off the ladder on so she can grab it, right, and like release the bombs.
Yeah.
So like it's a really well crafted scene to
It's an
show
amazing
her
scene.
and sacrificing herself, but also it's another setup to be like, hey, the Force belongs to everyone. See, she's not even Force sensitive, but she has enough faith in the Force that she's able to use it for this moment of need.
I agree,
Okay.
but
So-
also, I'm sorry.
I have,
Did you have some,
I have so
was
many
your
feelings.
opinion different?
Okay.
Was your opinion different than mine?
Yeah, my thing is different than yours because speaking about how that concept of like the sacrifice just kind of goes away, I'm going to disagree with you because I think it comes back in a big way and it comes back hard when Poe, when he realizes that Finn and Rose weren't able to turn off the tracker and so they can't get to hyperspace and get away. And then the Empire, whatever, the First Order, but they're the Empire, we all know. And then they start shooting the
other
ships because, and to me, it comes back in a big way in the sense that you don't often get the hero screwing up that badly to the point where
That's
he
true.
is directly responsible for the deaths of his own team, because he is. That whole section, that's Poe's fault. Everyone who died from the First Order shooting at those ships, that's only because Poe decided that he wanted to play the hero, not necessarily be the hero, but play the hero and go off on his own rogue mission and send Finn and Rose to do this thing. They would have lived just fine if he had just listened and not wanted to play the part of the big hero. But instead, you know, he really got a lot of his own people killed. And so to me, that tied into the first, like, you see the sacrifices and you see what happens to the people who really get into the nitty-gritty of war. And then later you see the consequences of playing war, you know, not
And he was there
Yeah.
again. He was, you know, in that battle. He was there, and he's the one that initiated the bombers to begin with.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because he decided to be rogue and go in there solo.
yeah.
And they had to come in. And he's like, "We're gonna kill this thing, right? I guess." So that's when she has to sacrifice herself.
Yeah, basically,
so, yeah, that's a
like,
good
what is
point.
it, like, playing war versus dealing with war? And I feel like a lot of the
Right.
movie is, it's actually kind of about playing war, where it's like the people in the casino, they're playing war by, like, selling to both sides, and Poe's playing war by wanting to be the big hero, whereas, you know, the people who've been in the shit for a while, like Leia and, what is it, the lady with the purple hair or whatever. It's like they've
Thaldo,
yeah, it's like they've already seen what happens when you're just playing at war, so they really are not playing with war but dealing with it. So it's really all about the ethics in war. I think we can all take that home with us.
Yeah. Haldo is her name, by the way. Vice Admiral Haldo is Laura Dern's
of course.
character.
I just thought of her as what is it? Ellie from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I was like, hey,
good old Dern.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
good old Laura
should
Dern.
we just use this as a segue to get into Laura Dern?
Yes,
I got some stuff to
absolutely.
say about Laura Dern. I think.
What do you got to say?
I do think I love Laura Dern. She's one of my favorite actresses. All about Laura
She's
Dern.
amazing.
Yeah.
Did she need to be this character? And
No.
did this character need to be in this movie? No.
Her
No.
purple hair, I found to be a distraction. I was
Yeah.
like, is she a human? Is she not a human? Does she dye her hair purple? I need to know more about what's going on here.
It's like we're already trying to like embrace this new set of characters. And I'm not saying you can't introduce any more characters, but they
Should have
introduced
just been Admiral Akbar.
three major characters.
Yeah, should have been Akbar.
Totally. Yeah, why not?
Oh, it would have been
Yeah,
so
right?
good if it was
Right?
Akbar.
Exactly, because
God.
then he is
It
like,
would've been
it's
so
a trap
good.
for them. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Boom.
And also, can we just talk about quick sidebar on the Laura Dern, but the fact that they just fucking brush off the death of Akbar? It's
I
like,
know.
where's the scene
Nobody
of
even
Akbar
says
floating
anything.
in
No.
space?
Floating around in space. What is it?
Yeah.
Leia force
I know.
grabs him, they flying together, holding hands.
Yeah. Fucking gotta say
He's one of my
Akbar.
favorite
I
characters.
didn't even realize that like he had died until I was like watching a video and I was like, oh yeah, that did happen. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
damn.
they mention it.
They, like,
mention that
casually
he died.
it's like,
yeah.
casualties,
Yeah.
blah, 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 and you're just like, what? Admiral Akbar
You're
is
like-
dead?
Should have been Akbar.
They're like, well, yeah, Admiral Akbar, he's
He's
gone
gone
now.
too.
They like say that. It's like, oh, come on.
Maybe it's because they
Yeah.
knew no one would believe that why can I hear myself?
I don't know.
What's happening? Okay, sorry.
All right, I think we're
But
good.
anyways, no one would believe that anyone like wouldn't trust Admiral Akbar. They're like, that's just unrealistic. Everyone would obviously know that he's got it together. So we just have to introduce a new character.
Yeah.
I have a sidebar about Laura Dern. Is the British woman with the pointy face? Did anyone think that she was secretly Hux's mom? Because I did. I was waiting for a reveal for a lot of the movie. Because he was like, we have Hook in them or whatever. And then it like immediately cuts to this British woman who looks exactly like him. She's like him, but older. And she's got red hair and like a pointy nose and a British accent. I was like, oh shit, this is going to be Hux's mom. And she's going to screw everyone over. And then it was too distracting of a casting. They needed to get someone who didn't look exactly like Hux in a wig. I can't be the only one who was thinking about that. I refuse
I'm
to
sorry,
believe
I didn't
honestly
pick
didn't
up on
think
that
that.
I
one.
refuse to
Yeah.
believe I
I
was the
didn't
only
think
one.
I'm sure there's got to be someone
There's
out there
gotta
who picked
be.
up on it.
There's so much to talk about we haven't talked about.
Yeah, I know. It's just,
Well, we were just on something that I just want to make a quick note on.
Okay, all right.
General
And then I
Hux.
think, go ahead.
General Hux sucks. Get that fucking guy out of the movie.
What?
Guy
No,
sucks.
I loved
like
him.
him.
I loved
What?
when
Oh.
I
Kylo Ren
loved
was
how
on the
he, like-
ground and he just like started taking out his
Yeah.
blaster. Because that's what you're always like. You're always like, just shoot him. And he's
Yeah.
like, you know, screw this guy. I could totally believe that the end of the movie that Kylo Ren isn't even in the First Order anymore, because like Hux is always like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? And Kylo Ren's like, I know what I'm doing, and then everyone gets screwed. So it's like Hux is gonna be like Grand Commander or whatever at the end of the day.
Yeah, I disagree. I liked Hux a lot. In fact, I
Oh,
liked how he was
I
like
hate
more
Hux.
over the top. I
love
'cause
him.
They had to do something with him, right?
Just
Like,
bad-
they had to.
Bad casting.
They had to do something with him.
It's like I don't
Bad casting.
I don't mind the character. I mainly just think that the actor. I don't like the actor. I don't like Domhnall Gleeson.
Donald Gleason? You don't like?
I don't
Donald
like
Gleeson?
Domhnall Gleeson. No, I think he's bad in the movie.
You're
I
a
don't like
hater.
him.
Are you kidding?
You're
Get
a
out of
hater
here.
and you're jealous.
He's good.
You get out of
no. He's good in The Revenant. He's great in The Revenant. In this,
He's good in
I'm
everything.
Out. I'm out. I'm out, man. I'm
I'm
out
done.
on Hux. I hate
That's
Hux.
a big
You're a
disagreement.
Hux hater. Yeah, no,
I'm a Hux
firmly
hater.
on the Hux side of the Force.
Kelly and I are pro
Yep.
Hux. You
And
are
you're out of
I'm
the group, man.
anti-Hux.
I'm
I gotta
sorry,
say,
you're-
I'm sorry.
You're out of the gang.
Force hang up.
Yep. We lost Zach. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. Anyways, let's talk about Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Right, this is a big one.
Oh yeah.
What did you guys think? Like, what did you think of like how they took Luke Skywalker in this? Like, definitely different than I think we all imagined, right? But I think I really liked what they did. I liked what they did with him.
I liked
how-
it too.
I feel like the easy choice for him would be to make him a wise Jedi master, right? Like a wise Jedi, like powerful leader. I like that it was more interesting that he was like this haggard kind of like guy filled with like
living in
regret
a hut.
and like just
Kind of
living in a
Yoda-ish.
hut. Yeah, exactly. Kind of being a hermit, doing his own thing, and like yeah, I don't know. I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I was all about it.
Yeah.
Best
I was into
best
it.
part of the whole movie is when he fucking drinks that green milk.
Oh, the
s-
green milk.
He's
It
just
was amazing.
Oh,
the shot where
man,
he
I
like
love
looks
that.
up and it's like all over his face and he's
Oh
like
my god, it is so
like
good.
he kind of like
It just has that wide shot of all those weird aliens, and
I
it's like,
know,
wow,
the
these like
weird
six-boobed aliens.
Yep.
And then he milks it and drinks the green milk, and it's
Like,
all in
this
his
is
beard.
his
And I
life
was just
now.
like, yes, like this is amazing. Best part of the whole movie.
Just need a poster of that scene.
Yeah.
it's so good. Yeah.
Best part of the whole fucking movie. It was incredible.
I loved his like death too. Like I loved his death and I loved his like the final act that he does.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, it's like that's what the Force was all about for the Jedi in the beginning, right? It said, and I even watched Empire Strikes Back recently, and it says the Force is never to be used for attack, only for defense and knowledge. Yoda says this. That's what he does.
Yep.
He uses the Force as like a Jedi should, not wielding and fucking flipping around with a lightsaber. Fuck lightsabers. I'm gonna astral project myself across the galaxy
Just to
Make sure
pwn
people
my
escape.
nephew.
and fucking troll everyone, and then I'm gonna merge with the Force. Peace. I thought that was badass.
Yeah, that was great. That was like such a good reveal. My theater went wild when it was like, oh, he wasn't even there the whole time. What? Everyone was like, yeah, cheering. It was so great
Yeah.
because it
This
was
is
one of those things that is unexpected, but also it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Why couldn't you do that
Makes
with the
perfect
Force? You know,
sense.
like obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this
it's
is a
cool,
thing
too,
that
'cause
people hate, right? Aren't people like super anti this?
What?
I think I think some people were like didn't know how to feel about it. Like they were just like
Why?
they were like,
though?
oh, he should have like
don't know.
he should have been there and like with a lightsaber. I don't know. Like people wanted a lightsaber fight, which I kind of get, but when you think about it, it's like, nah, man. Like this guy was above lightsabers.
Yeah.
He gets his lightsaber, tosses it, and he calls them laser swords,
I
which
love
is
that.
Which is good. Yeah, I love the
love
laser
that.
sword.
Yeah, the
I
laser
know.
sword. Oh man, you know what? I just realized though is that it's like if they want Luke to like run off with a lightsaber and start slashing people, it's like the completion of Luke's arc from Empire Strikes Back, where it's like he does run off in his X-wing and go to like fight the big lightsaber fight or whatever. And this time it's
Yeah.
like, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna do that. It's stupid. You know? Why don't I just do this instead?
Yeah.
That makes way
Yeah.
more sense. Yeah.
And like when he first shows up, I was like, oh, he cut his hair and dyed his beard.
I didn't
Okay.
even notice. I
Alright.
like totally did. People are like,
No,
oh yeah, he
I-
looks like he did back with like Kylo Ren. I was like, what?
Yeah, I thought he looked weird. I was like, why does he look like this now?
He also looked a
But
little
that was
de-aged.
that was how he. What's that?
He looked a little de-aged as well, like he was
Because he's
younger.
supposed to look like
Well,
he was when
yeah.
Kylo
Yeah.
Ren last saw him, right?
Yeah.
Oh
Right?
yeah, totally.
That's what I heard,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize that he looked like
No,
that.
yeah,
So
that's-
you know,
That's how everyone remembers
Mm-hmm.
him. So that's like it makes sense. But the one thing that does bother me is like he has his blue lightsaber, not his green lightsaber. Which
Yeah.
why?
Oh yeah.
And I think the reason of that was to be like, oh, something's off about this. I think like was the purpose of that.
yeah, because the blue lightsaber was torn in half, so he shouldn't have had it anyways. You know?
Exactly.
It's like that should have
And
been the
he
big
should have had his
giveaway
green
or
saber.
whatever. Yeah.
Right.
But it's clever.
Also, when he's Go ahead.
No, wait, what were you going to say?
Sorry. I was gonna say when he's walking on Crate, the surface, there's no red footprints behind him.
Yeah, I
I
heard
didn't
that.
even
I was
catch
like,
that.
what? I
Every-
missed that, but I heard it later, and I was like, ah.
Everyone walking on at least red footprints. He didn't because he's a projection.
He's a hologram.
Pretty cool detail. Good detail. Yeah.
And then I think that the blue saber is psychological warfare because it's like Kylo Ren's worst nightmare. You know, it's like, not only is my uncle here to beat me, but he's gonna use like my
Right.
grandfather's laser sword that I wanted so bad. It's like, oh
Yeah,
no.
that's true.
Psychological
Yeah.
warfare, buddy. Don't mess with the best.
Yeah.
Mess with the best, die like the rest.
Oh, so good.
Mm.
And
It was such a good
And he
win.
goes out-
So much of that movie is everyone getting stomped on and everyone dying, and it was like finally something awesome happens. Finally, the good
Yeah.
guys can catch a break.
he's got to come back as a Force ghost.
If he
in
doesn't,
the
I'm
next
gonna
movie.
be quite upset. People are
I
gonna
will
get
be
some
pissed.
angry emails. Let me tell you.
yeah.
And also, he never did his third lesson, so he's got to come back for the third lesson.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
He
true.
never came back.
Yeah.
He only did the two
The
lessons.
third lesson
He
is
said
that
he
there is no lesson. Oh,
Oh.
mind
Yeah.
blown.
I didn't
Yeah.
think his performance was necessarily incredible, but I loved all the stuff on the island. That stuff for the whole movie, for me at least. Like,
Oh, yeah, it was
all
awesome.
the stuff with Luke and Rey on the island was really,
Yeah,
really great.
I loved him
Fucking
and
badass.
R2D2 and the Help Me Obi-Wan Kenobi. I loved his
so
like cheap
good.
shot. I love how he was still so Luke.
It was
You
such
know?
a cheap shot.
Yeah, it was, but it was
And
so good.
he says that though
Yes.
too. He says like that's really cheap.
Yep,
R2.
I love that. Yeah, but it also is perfect. You know, it like is absolutely
so
a cheap
good.
shot, but it's so good. Yeah.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The thing that I didn't
love-
like though was the weird Force dice when it's like, and then the dice were dead 40 years ago or whatever. When like
Yeah.
they disappear in Kylo Ren's. How does that work? What does that mean? It was just weird.
Yeah.
So
I
I
don't
kind of read up on this, and apparently the dice have always been hanging in.
Yeah,
the
I know
Millennium
they've always
Falcon.
been there, but the fact that he
Yeah.
made a projection of Force dice, and those Force
And
dice
then-
were then left there for Kylo Ren to find. It's like, what?
It's
Yeah,
it's
that's weird.
it's a little weird. It's a little
That
funky.
is
Yeah. I
It's
thought
like
that
how
was
does
weird.
small that, like-
how does a
I
projection
didn't
have
pay
an
attention
object
to it. 'Cause then
that
she could get
interacts
them-
with other people?
What's that?
Just how does like a projection of someone have an object that can interact with other people?
Yeah, exactly. And then they're still like on
Yeah,
the
it's just
Millennium
weird.
Falcon, which is still around.
Yeah.
So Leia could then get the real one. So it's just weird. It's just one of those
It's
little
weird.
things that's just like that. Why? You know?
Yeah.
I
It's
just
like, I know we
overlooked
have to
that one a little
recognize-
bit.
Yeah. I know we have to recognize that like Han Solo was very meaningful, but also Force inanimate objects is a strange place that we've gotten to.
Yeah.
Apparently
totally.
he's a master illusionist or something. That's ridiculous.
Makes sense.
What'd you guys think of Yoda?
I love
I thought Yoda was
Yoda.
fucking awesome.
It's the only time I've ever liked Yoda,
Oh.
except for an Empire before he
amazing.
starts teaching Luke. That time and then this time are the only times I've ever liked Yoda. He was great.
This is what Yoda always should have been, right? Like he was always like this little like trickster
Yeah,
guy. Like, that's how he was
exactly.
an Empire.
Yeah.
And then like we got a change of him in like prequels as him as like this
just like downer. He's always a
lightsaber
downer,
wielding
but
like
doing flips and
Yeah, it's
shit. Yeah, it's like, what are you doing?
no, like he's always like original Yoda, he's a troll, man. Like he just trolls people.
He'd rather
he's a
die
trickster.
than tell Luke whether or not Vader is his father. Luke's like, please, Master Yoda, please tell me. And Yoda's like, oh, I gotta,
It's like, nope.
I gotta turn over and die. Please stop asking me questions. And then it's like, that's how hardcore of a troll Yoda is. He'd rather die than
Oh,
tell
he
anyone
is.
the truth.
he still trolls Luke
I loved it.
to this movie.
Yes.
And I realized later that I'd read this somewhere that I didn't even realize when I watched it, but like when he says to Luke like Rey has everything that she needs, and then he like destroys the little hut with his lightning.
Yeah.
She literally does, because at the end you see that she has,
has
the
the
books
books,
and
yep.
the ship. She literally
Yep.
has everything. Yoda, you are such a troll.
Yep.
Like, you can't even tell him in that moment. The books are still around, and it's like, nope, she has everything. Like, oh, it's so good.
The fact that he was a puppet was absolutely fantastic. When he showed
I
up,
didn't like the puppet. I heard.
Get outta
I
here.
thought it was great. Yeah, no,
it's
I
amazing,
agree.
and it
loved
makes
it.
sense because, like, okay, they fucked it up. They went CG on the original ones, but this is a continuation of after those, so he should
Yeah.
He should
look
look
more
more
like
puppet-like. Yeah, exactly. That
Yeah.
makes perfect sense.
Right when he showed up, though, I gotta say, I was like, oh my god, fuck me, this is a nightmare. Like, this
Really?
is no good.
I was
Yeah,
like,
but then
I was
it cut-
gasped in delight. I was like, what?
It cut to his face, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is not a nightmare.
Okay, he's
This
a
is
puppet.
This is a nice treat right now. This
We
is
can all
not a
calm
nightmare.
down. Yeah.
I thought I was having a nightmare, but I'm having a nice dream.
And then, like, Jar Jar shows up over his shoulder and
Like,
he's
no,
like,
it's back to
New
nightmare."
Skywalker.
No, I loved everything
loved
about
it. It was
Yoda
so,
showing
it was
up.
perfect. Everything about that scene was perfect. It was perfect character-wise.
It was amazing.
Continuity-wise. It was just
Yep.
so good.
Made complete sense.
Mhm.
Made complete sense to continue.
Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely.
It was great.
Incredible. In fact, I also read that they had recreated the Yoda puppet from the actual mold from Empire
Oh, wow.
Strikes Back,
Amazing.
and that's
Yeah.
Frank Oz doing it and everything. So it's
Oh, I didn't know
it's
that.
incredible.
That's awesome. Yeah.
it's Frank Oz, dude. He came back for it, and so
God damn
good.
right he did.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So another thing we'll talk about. What do you guys think about Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver playing Kylo Ren and Rey? What did you think about their whole plot line?
I
thought-
totally. Oh, sorry. You go.
You go.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say that I totally didn't get the whole, like, Snoke was like, I was the one bringing your minds together, and then at the end, they, like, still have that mind link. I did not catch that at all. I was just like, oh, yeah, of course they're doing that again. I, like, didn't get that it was, like, a plot twist. And then later I was like,
Right.
oh, how intriguing. That, like, that changes everything. But I really liked them. Good. Liked it. Good.
I thought the editing was super cool during all those scenes.
It was
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
It was
That was so
real
good.
weird. Super short dissolves, and it's like match cutting
I
of their
know.
faces, and then it's like
Yeah.
framed
It's
like
like,
they're
how
in the
real
same
are
room, but it's
they?
different.
Yeah, it was so great.
Very cool. Very interesting editing.
Yeah.
And it was a cool thing that we hadn't seen with the Force before, like the connections like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't feel like crazy. Like it totally fits. It makes sense. Like
Totally.
it's just something we hadn't seen before,
Yeah.
and they have to like this cool connection. And I love how Rey kind of like starts to like really understand the Force, and we too like we get to see more of like the myth and the lore behind the Force, which I really like.
No midi-chlorians
and how-
here.
No, exactly. And she like senses the dark side underneath the island that goes down there, which I loved the scene in the cave.
I wasn't crazy about that. I liked Luke's cave exploration better. It was just weird to me. I was
It
like,
was obviously
what
a
is...
play on that.
Yeah, exactly. But it didn't feel as satisfying, you know? I wasn't crazy about it. Well, also because I wasn't crazy about that whole, like, it felt like another one of the, like, kind of halfway done plot lines where it was like, for every light, there needs to be a dark. Like, in this place of the Force, here's this weird, scary, dark cave that nobody talks about. And for every, like, Kylo Ren, there's gonna be, like, someone on the light side. There's gotta be balance. It seemed like it was going with that, but also not all the way. And so it's just kind of, that was not my favorite part of the movie. Everything with Rey and Kylo Ren, though, I really loved. And I really loved that, like, the second that Rey leaves, Kylo Ren's just like, oh, she beat me up, and she beat up all these guys too, and she left, and now I'm the commander. He's like such a wimp, you know? He's like such a tool.
I love their lightsaber fight.
It was
with
good.
like with the
Oh my god.
guys.
So
All the
red
red
guys.
boys. Yeah.
That was awesome. It was so good.
Awesome.
I
Probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
was a little it wasn't a huge detractor, but just the whole, like, who's gonna turn? Which one of them's gonna turn? He's gonna turn. Oh, she's gonna turn. Who's gonna turn? And then it's like, oh, no one does. No one does.
No one's
okay.
gonna turn.
It was a little much for me. It was just kind of like, oh, I get that they're, you know, I don't know. It just felt like it was baiting you into think something crazy was gonna happen, and then nothing crazy happened, and it's exactly what you think's gonna happen, and it's like, okay. Yeah, that's about what I expected.
I mean, I do think it's a little weird that they set it up as, like, light and dark, and then it's like, no, we should destroy all these things. Jedi shouldn't be a thing. And then it's like, nope, I want to be a Jedi anyway. It's like,
that was, again, I feel like part of the halfway storyline thing. Because I think you can go further to, like, the, what is it, the whole, you know, the Force doesn't belong to anybody, so it's like, you can have Jedi teachings, but, like, you don't necessarily need to be a Jedi. But again, it was kind of, like, only halfway done, and then he's, I don't know, that, I kind of agree with Zach, but it didn't affect, like, my enjoyment of that plot line. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, you know, and then they don't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, because honestly, that's what I expected. It's like, I expect them to go into the third movie and to still be dark, like,
pretty much status quo,
on the sides.
you know. Yeah, he's the bad guy, he's the good guy.
For all the stuff that I read before seeing the movie of, like, oh my god, like, you're not gonna be able to handle what happens in The Last Jedi. Like, holy shit, you're about to fucking freak out during this movie. It just was like, oh. Okay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's not necessarily like, fuck this is bad. It's just like, yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So, another thing just about expectation. I just felt like I was expecting one of them to go one way, and then they just kind of, like, didn't do any of it. And just kind of...
They both kind of, like, stayed
they just
their
were there.
course.
Yeah.
I guess I thought that the trailers were playing up too much the, like, who's gonna do what? So that's why I went in thinking, like, there's no way that they're actually gonna... Yeah, I was like, there's no way that's actually gonna happen in this movie, because they're, like, teasing it too hardcore.
The marketing was very trying to, like, trick you.
Yeah, it was like, Rey's gonna take Kylo Ren's hand, and then they're gonna be bad boys together, or whatever. And it was like, they're not gonna do that. Calm down, everybody. You know what trick they did get for me, though? I legitimately thought they were gonna kill Finn when he was, like, flying at that cannon. I was like, oh my god, what are they doing? They're gonna kill the only black guy in the galaxy. They can't do this. They can't do this. They totally got me there. I was getting ready to pitch a fit, and then luckily...
See, that's another thing.
Yeah,
that's another misleading thing that they flip on you.
I know they can't kill Rey, but, like, in my opinion, it was like, they can't kill Rey. I was pretty sure they weren't going to kill Carrie Fisher because she was already dead for real. I was like, they can't do that. But everyone else, for me, I was like, there's not really any reason why they have to keep this person alive. So I was like, they're going to do it. They're really going to do it. And then when they didn't, I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, okay, yeah. I had to delete the angry tweet that I was gonna write or whatever.
And then I honestly didn't buy the little romance.
Yeah, me neither. I was like,
no.
But I also ship Rey and Finn, so I was like, I mean, I like you, Rose, but also Finn Rey is where my heart lies.
I just didn't buy it.
It's just like, why can't we have a team of the characters, and it's like, there's a male character, there's a female character. Can't they just, like, work together and not be in a romantic relationship?
But men and women can't be friends. When Harry Met Sally told us that.
yeah, fair enough. That's part of canon now, you know?
From Billy Crystal, I mean.
Come on, Billy Crystal knows all.
Yeah, it was a little annoying.
Yeah, it was a little corny. It was also, like, you could have done that without, like, a romance, you know? It's like, you could have had...
But to be in its defense, though, I do see one side of it as being, like, I don't think it was, like, there's always been this like, romantic tension between us. I think it was sort of like I don't feel well, I'm about to pass out, so I'm going to do something crazy. And it's a setup for maybe something that could happen, because he was pretty shocked by it.
Yeah. He was pretty shocked, but I feel like they planted the seeds earlier. The fact that she knew who he was, and, like, knew that he was.
She did in the very beginning say that. Oh my God! Like she was like,
yeah, it's like you're the hero.
She was the little.
Yeah, she knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I kind of expected that the whole time, honestly, which was.
Oh really?
And I mean, they're standing there chatting on the balcony, and
I felt like it was not unexpected, but also it was a weird way to reveal it, because it just did seem...
It was a weird way
It's like
to do
I could see, like, the hints for it, and then it was like, because we saved the people who we love, and I'm like, whoa, you just met this guy. Like, come, maybe don't use the L word that fast, you know? I mean, you know, don't jump straight to love. You've only known him, like, 2 days, maybe. Our sense of time is very strange, but, you know,
a day.
Don't scare him off so fast. Play a little coy.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, so that they totally got me with that, and I was so worried. I was so scared. I was like, no. And then very relieved when he did not die. They also got me with Leia, because when she was like, when they shot her into space, I was like, oh my God, they're really doing this?
This is her out.
Yeah.
This is her out.
Yeah, I was very upset. I was like, there's no way they could just leave it at that. But when she force pulled herself back to the ship, it looked very silly, but also I loved it. I was like, this looks
I kind of liked it too.
I'm out on the fucking. I'm out. I'm sorry.
You didn't like
it? It was a little too Mary Poppins for me.
Yes, it was. But I don't know. I just love Leia using the Force. Again, the whole, like, it's not just Jedi who owns the Force.
I like that about it. Like, I like that
she
uses the Force.
But I liked.
But we've always known she's Force sensitive too. Even since the originals, she's been able to communicate through the Force. Yeah. So it's like, it's not completely implausible.
I'm not disputing that it's implausible. I'm disputing the fact that it
was shot weird. It didn't look weird
when it happened.
Yeah, it definitely looked super goofy.
It's like I don't mind that she's Force sensitive. Yeah. That's a cool idea, and that's definitely an idea that's been seen before in the movies. But the fact that she, like, I don't know, it felt very weird to me. And
it did look, it did look weird. But then it's kind of like, how can you do that without looking weird? You know, it's like, I'm trying to think of a way you could show her, like, force pulling herself to the ship without it looking kind of goofy.
Maybe not posed, like...
Yeah, but even then, if she's posed with, like, her arms back, then it's like she's doing a weird ninja fly. Towards if she poses with her arms out, it's like a weird zombie thing. I mean, I feel like she's spinning around like a propeller. That's not any better. So,
honestly, just fucking kill her in space.
No! How dare you?
Just kill her in space.
You can't kill her in space when she's dead in real life. You can't do that. You can't. Some things are sacred.
Yeah, this was the original plan.
But what's gonna happen next, though?
I know what. Honestly, I think the next one they're just gonna say. They're gonna have the first scene's gonna be a funeral. It's gonna be a funeral for Princess Leia.
Yeah, but
no way. I think they're gonna keep her alive, but like she's gonna be
CG?
more like a floating head type thing.
They can do that now, which is crazy.
Can they though? Can they though? Anymore. It's like they tried in Rogue One. I don't know if they can.
They said they weren't going to, but I think that they can do it with like clever editing. You know, just show her in a few scenes because she doesn't really need to be a big part of the next movie. You know, depending on like what happens. Because I feel like she sort of made her peace with Kylo Ren, so it's kind of like.
There's also rumors that like she had scenes that weren't in this movie that they cut out that they could be using in the new one.
Oh, clever.
But also, like, I feel like she's gotta meet Kylo, right? She's gotta like.
That's gotta be resolved. It just seems like it's no matter what, it's gonna be distracting in the third movie. Like, there's no way that her scenes will not be distracting because it's either gonna be weirdly reappropriated footage or CG Leia or weird write-off of Leia. That honestly, I guess it probably is a little too close to just like kill her in the movie for people who are attached. But is it the best for the movies themselves?
I will hold my opinion until we see what happens in... Because, I mean, I think it's going to be distracting no matter what, because, like, even it was distracting in this movie because it's like, Carrie Fisher, the dead one. You know, it's like, it's hard to... You can't really watch her scenes without that coming into your mind, you know?
For sure.
I have faith that they will be able to do it in a way that doesn't, like, completely derail the next movie, but also, you know, kind of reserve a lot of my feelings until, like, we actually see what the plot line is like, because that, to me, is gonna inform a lot of how they will do it, you know, what, you know, our plot line with Kylo Ren and what's gonna happen there. So, you know, I feel like that's just kind of big up in the air. Like, we'll just have to see what they decide to do.
For sure. Because also, for me, it's just like, what, aside from the scene of her reuniting with Luke, which is obviously, like, an important scene to a lot of people, like, what does she really do in the movie?
But she serves, well, after that, I guess she doesn't really do too much, except it's the whole, like, we're the, you know, we're the spark that's gonna unite everybody in the world, or whatever. Paraphrased. That's paraphrased.
Paraphrasing.
Yeah, to be fair, she doesn't really do too much after that. But we also don't know what she's gonna, you know, what she was going to be doing. Maybe this was like her big send-off, like, what is it? The Force Awakens was for Han, where it's like he's in it a whole lot because he's gonna be not in the next one, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be that kind of like that for Leia and Luke, where it's like they're in this one a lot because they're not really gonna be in the next one.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for me, I guess, when she died, or seemingly died in space, I wasn't like, no! I was like, to me it kind of made sense. And especially for the character of Kylo Ren, and, like, him being conflicted. Because that, like, I think that scene is effective. Yeah. And it's like, he's essentially responsible. Yeah, it's great. It's
so
like,
good.
He could have done it.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it. He backs out, but then his lackeys do it, so he's basically still responsible. And it's just like, how does that make you feel after that? You know what I mean? And I guess also, though, he is still under the impression that she's dead, no? Like, does he get confirmation that she's still alive in the rest of the movie? Or is he under the impression that his mother's dead as well?
I don't think he would. I think he would know if she's dead. I feel like the Force would tell him
know
if she were dead.
Well, he would know, and also because he, in that one moment where he was, like, firing on the ship, he sensed his mom there.
Well, yeah, he sensed his mom there, but then other ships came and blew up the room that she was standing in.
Wait a second, my cat's trying to get in the garbage.
No worries.
So what I'm saying is,
but
like,
I think he would sense that, though. I think he would sense that if she was gone. He would totally sense that if she was dead.
And I'm back.
We were just saying that, like, he would totally sense if she was dead.
Yeah, I think so. I think he would know.
For me, I like Adam Driver. I think he's good. But there's not, like, a ton going on for Kylo Ren with me in terms of, like, motivation of, like, why he's so angry and, like, why he's doing what he's doing.
And I kind of disagree with that a little bit, though. I feel like he plays off this, like, conflicted, like, just, like, this torn apart character very well. And, like...
I feel like he's torn apart, but why is he evil in the first place, I guess?
Because he's torn between, like, following the path of, like, Darth Vader, which he's, like, respects in, like, an emo way, and also, like, the conflicts of, like, his heart of being, like, on like, the light side.
But, like,
being with his family, and Snoke corrupting his heart and everything else.
But, like, is his pull to the dark side his infatuation with Darth Vader? You know what I mean?
It's Snoke showing him the power of the dark side and showing how powerful he can be.
I guess it's just when they got more into, like, Luke, the whole thing where it shows the scene 3 times of Luke with the lightsaber and you know the different renditions of that.
Yeah.
It just kind of was like, okay, so this is where he went bad. And then it's like, did he just make that decision based off this misunderstanding?
No. They say that he, like, Luke senses
Luke
that his mind has
that,
already, he'd already been corrupted. Like, Snoke had already gotten to him. like when he ignited his lightsaber, but then he felt bad about it.
But then Luke's like,
guess.
oh, but then when he opened his eyes, like, I only saw my scared little nephew or whatever.
Right.
So I think it's
he'd already turned bad at that point.
I think
just
he had
hadn't,
been
officially announced
seduced by
it yet.
Snoke. But I still
Yeah.
I think the problem was that Luke saw that he was seduced by the dark side, then saw that, they're still good in him or whatever, but then Kylo Ren, just went full dark side because he thought he was going to die and, then started killing everyone, I guess, because that's how you react to family disputes in this world, is just kill mostly children, but a lot of people outside of that. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree with Zach where I think that
Kill younglings.
Oh yeah, especially the younglings. Don't let not one youngling shall be standing. Skywalkers are good at that. But I think that he does play conflicted well, but I think that the source of the conflict is kind of a little shallow, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of just he's bad because, a guy, told him that he was bad.
Yeah,
it's he was seduced by it, and it's I guess that makes sense in this world with the Force and everything, but it's what, did he just wake up and go, man, I'm bad? I could have just used, maybe, even, I'm not, a huge flashback guy, but, I don't know, they're already flashing back to this Jedi Academy, maybe show some more of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
a flashback of Snoke, I want to see how Snoke got into his mind, or what he promised him.
We don't have enough information. We just don't have enough information.
Or a scene of...
Also, something they never address is the Knights of Ren.
Yeah,
which
totally.
was set up in Force Awakens.
I thought they were the red
guys.
I was maybe they're the red guys around Snoke. But then why aren't they using the Force? I don't know.
No. We never see the Knights of Ren, so that's something that just wasn't addressed.
And where are the Knights
I
of
feel like
Stimpy?
J.J. Abrams.
Where are they? We just don't know.
I feel like J.J. is gonna bring some of his ideas back in the next one.
Yeah.
Like that, Knights of Ren and some other things.
Yeah, I just felt maybe beefing up some of his backstory.
Yeah.
Or
it did feel a little artificial.
Showing why he's obsessed with Darth Vader so much. Because, that's a cool idea, but, why?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't see his training. We don't know. We just don't know.
Speaking of another thing, another JJ idea that just, wasn't in this, which I guess isn't necessarily a JJ idea, but Captain Phasma, just, not a thing.
Yeah.
Just
I want
a
her
character.
to come
I
back.
like that she had more to do.
I want her to come back again. It's you literally cannot kill this woman.
I want her to come back. Well, she gets shot with the blaster and it deflects, so come on. Explosions could probably save her, right? Let's segue into something. Let's say what was everyone's favorite moment?
Green milk.
Innocent.
Green milk. Okay, that's Zach's got the
milk.
claim on the green milk. Mine was probably a toss-up between Yoda, which I was very pleased by because I'm a Yoda hater from way back. And I loved him. Yeah, I hate Yoda so much. I have such beef with Yoda. Yeah. He's a jerk, and he's always oh, he tells people he's the biggest downer in the galaxy. He's always oh, when Luke's going into the cave and he's
puppet?
he's a little downer Muppet guy, and Luke goes into the cave and he's I'm not afraid, and Yoda's you will be. It's why you gotta be like that, man? Why you gotta try to make people afraid when fear leads to the dark side? If a guy tells you he's not afraid, just take him at his word and just stop saying things.
I love Yoda.
Anyways, Yoda, I got beef. And then also, but I loved him in the, The Last Jedi. He was exactly what I wanted him to be. And then also,
yes.
I loved when Laura Dern, not a character, just Laura Dern herself, when she hyperspaced the ship into the
very
big,
cool.
That was so
cool.
good. That was
everyone
cool
in my
moment.
theater was wow.
I know,
I kept hearing all these reactions.
Yep,
It was
wow.
Because it's completely silent too. There's no audio.
I know, I loved that. And that was another
super cool.
there's never been a scene like that in Star
Never.
Wars, where it's, you know, the silence and the editing, and it really, like, makes you awed by how intense this action was.
Yeah.
But I loved that. I thought it was so cool. So yeah, that's probably my favorite moment. That and Yoda. What about you, Wes?
Nice. I think my favorite moment was I think toss up between Yoda and the turn of Snoke and the Rey Kylo fight.
Yeah.
Rey Kylo fight was like, once that like started, like they kill Snoke, lightsaber to the foreground, catches it, and they're just like action
So
time.
good.
And then just like and like there's this fucking sweet choreography of like a really badass fight we hadn't seen. Like we never seen like light and dark fight together. Like that was fucking cool.
Yeah, that scene was cool.
Did you hear that, Kelly?
It was, yeah, the scene with Rey and
Never seen like light and dark fight together.
yeah, I know.
And
It was really, really cool. Yeah.
It was badass. So that was my favorite.
Yeah.
One thing that was a big thing for me that I wanted to bring up, since we were just talking about it, loved the Lightspeed Laura Dern. Scene was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yep. We just talked about that.
Conceptually, though, why didn't she do that earlier?
Okay, because first of all, I've already like fielded this argument before. Okay, so my feelings are that first of all, she can't. If she were going to do it, she can't do it too soon because the original plan was just to be a distraction and let them get away. You know.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't do it when they're still like floating around because then they will know that like the jig is up.
Like her initial plan wasn't to die right away. Her initial plan was to like be distraction.
She was just gonna keep being like, "Come get me." Second of all, I think it's a situation where she does it as fast as she can, but because of the weird switching between scenes, it looks like it takes a lot longer than it, like, quote-unquote, actually does.
Yeah, because your timelines are switching, and I don't know what, like, the difference in timeline is, but it did feel, like, I understand that the other ships have to get away, but the way that it's presented in the movie, it felt like other ships get away, they're away, other stuff happens, they're away, other stuff happens. All right, now I'm gonna take them down. When it's like she stayed behind knowing that she was gonna die. So it felt a little weird to me. Just in the way that it was, you know, structured or presented across the cross-cut.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to me, before the Empire, First Order, before the Empire starts shooting at the ships, it makes sense that she doesn't attack them, because if she did, then they would just go after the remaining ships, because they still have that capability.
Yeah.
And then to me, after they start shooting at them, at that point, I assume that, you know, she's getting to it as fast as she can, but because of the switching back, it's like when a bomb in a movie takes, you know, 10 minutes to count down to 30 or whatever. It's kind of like, assume she's been working at this for like however long the ships have been blowing up. That was kind of my like mental justification for it.
But also, if she could just destroy them all, and she was going to die anyway, why would she have to wait for them to get away? Couldn't she just kill them all immediately?
Because she didn't kill all of them. They still had, like, the remaining force to go up.
Yeah,
there were still
some small
leftover.
boys around, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Fair enough.
And then it's kind of like, once the big ship is done, they don't have anyone else to go after but, like, these guys or whatever. Whereas, if they were gone, she could, like, hyperspace, get them away, and then at that point it's kind of like, you know, they're out of the woods, basically.
Well, even then, like, the First Order is still able to make it to the planet Crate, right? Like, they're still able to make it to the planet and still have a battle there. So it's not like she could destroy them all.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that planet was pretty cool. Something we never seen before.
I loved the crystal,
planet was
like,
cool.
inside. That was awesome. That was a good, old
the Crystal
school
Foxes.
Millennium Falcon fight
Yeah, they
through
kinda
the
look-
crystals.
The crystal fox kind of looked like a new Pokemon or something.
I love
Totally.
them. I was so worried that they were gonna get killed when the cannon shot at the doors, and I was like, okay, where did the foxes go? First of all, I'm very concerned
Where are the
about them.
foxes?
If they were just disintegrated, I'm leaving the theater. I can't handle this. I'm too emotional right now. Too many things have happened.
I think that's a good little segue into what you guys think of like all the creatures in this movie. Like there's so many like new creatures.
Oh yeah.
Are you
I
pro?
liked them.
Is everyone
Like
pro
pro or
porg?
anti-porg?
Yeah, I'm pro.
Yeah, you
I'm
like
pro
pro or
porg.
anti-porg?
I'm pro pork. I like the pork. To me, it's
I'm
just
pro
like
as well.
they're not a big enough part of the movie to have a strong opinion about them. You know, like
Yeah.
they're cute. Who cares? You know, move on with your
Yeah.
lives. They're not like fighting. One doesn't like take over a ship and start like shooting down the Empire or whatever, like Ewoks. You know, they're
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
kind of there. Yeah. Although
do
I
think
would
there was, like-
definitely be pro that. The next episode has a porg flying around an X-wing. Yeah, that's how you get butts and seats, people.
I do think there was like one too many shots of like Chewbacca going
Yeah.
and like knocking a porg
But he
over.
became
I
their
agree.
mom. He became the mom of the porks because he ate their other mom, and so then he had to become the.
That
he's
was
the mom-
crazy when he,
he's
like-
a mom to the porks. He's a
He
mom
cooked
to
a
Rey.
porg.
Yeah.
Yeah, he cooked a porg
Yeah.
and then was like
Yeah.
feeling. Then he felt bad.
I
I
think
loved
they
it.
just.
That's so chewy to me, you know.
Yeah,
I think they
it was
just
good.
knew what they had in the porgs, so they like really went for it.
Yeah.
And I definitely like the porgs, but like, I agree with just like one too many porg. Let's cut
Not
out
too many shots.
cut
of,
out
like,
two
Chewbacca
porgs,
going, "Ah,"
you know.
like knocking it
Yeah.
over.
And also, while we're on it, Chewie didn't do shit in this movie. He had some
he
nice.
flew the Millennium
He had some
Falcon
nice moments, but he
in
was
the
just like,
whole-
yeah, but he was
the
just
one
like
flying around
around.
the land.
It's just kind of like, what's Chewie up to? Oh yeah, he's over there flying. Like, yep,
Yeah.
hey, you know what I mean? It just kind of felt weird. It felt a little weird.
Same. Well,
Yeah, I
same for
guess I
R2
just
and
thought the Millennium
C-3PO.
Falcon
Yeah.
would like drop Rey off and then leave. But I guess again, when you consider that it's only over 2 days, it's kind of like, oh, it makes sense that
Yeah.
they'd stick around.
Yeah.
It's the weird, like Empire also has the weird timeline where it feels like Luke is training for a really long time, but then it's like there's no way he was actually there for that long because you know Han and Leia are all running from the Empire.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
it seems stupid for him only to be there for like 3 days. And I feel like it's the same kind of thing with this movie where it's like, it feels like Rey is on planet with Luke for like a pretty
Several
long time.
days.
Yeah, exactly.
Several
like
days
at
at
least a
least.
week. But then when
Yeah.
you think about the timeline, it's like, I guess she's only there for like a couple days. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like, just there and she's
Yeah.
gone.
Love those the creatures that like tend to the island.
Yeah, the little like frog people.
Yeah, they're like the
Cute.
little
So
like
good.
the maids kind
I
of
love them.
creatures.
So good. Love that.
And
you
then
like that
they're
part?
gonna get in Luke's X-wing, and then they're gonna come after the
Yeah.
Empire.
Everything on the island was awesome.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Oh yeah, it was great. Except, yeah, I wasn't crazy about Rey's little spirit journey. That's just because I felt like it could have been more. It was just like kind of her looking into a few mirrors. It was like, whoa, there sure are a lot of mirrors here. And I was like, call me when Darth Vader comes all up in there. She cuts off his head. It's her head or Luke's head, Kylo Ren's head, somebody's head. I don't know. I was just expecting more of like an interactive spirit quest. Not just like kind of her snapping her fingers and then she touches a glass and then she's back right there. You know, that's kind of it.
I think the editing of that scene from the mirror scene to the scene where she's in the hut, where she starts talking to Kylo in the hut, and she's like, "I wanted to find answers here." If you watch that again, like the transition from the mirror scene in the cave to that
Yeah.
is like so well done, so well edited, because she's like, you see the face of herself, and she's like, and then immediately there's a voiceover that says, "I was expecting more answers here," and then it cuts to like her being in the hut and
Yeah.
then like talking to Kyle. It's actually pretty cool. So I really enjoyed that little like transition. But yeah, I don't know. I liked more of the cave, I think, than you guys. But I thought it was like it was a play on the Empire cave scene, but with a little bit of a modern twist.
Yeah. I thought
Cutting the head off of Darth Vader.
Yeah, I thought the visuals were
Yeah.
cool in it. You know.
Yeah.
What'd you all think about Rey? The whole reveal of Rey's parents.
I still believe
it's a good
that
question.
she's the reincarnated spirit of Anakin Skywalker. So I don't think it actually matters who her parents are. Yeah, that's my theory. Because where's Anakin Skywalker through all this? Yoda can come to freaking Luke and be like, haha, young Skywalker, you're being stupid. And Vader can't come to Kylo Ren and slap the helmet out of his hand and be like, what are you doing, you idiot? You know? Because the reason why he can't do that is because he's been Rey the whole time. Boom.
Huh?
Bold,
Blow your mind.
bold theory there.
Yes, that's my theory. And I will stick to that even... I feel like even if it's not true, there's no way they can disprove it. So I'm just going to keep believing it, even through the next movie, even if it's not confirmed. I'm just going to keep it alive.
Well, I think it's kind of... I don't mind the reveal of her being from nothing, you know, because, like, Anakin came from nothing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, he was a virgin birth or whatever from Sidious, so
yeah,
he kind of came
play
from
on
nothing,
Jesus
but also,
and Mary or whatever.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Nobody liked that.
Yeah, but still, like, you know,
Yeah.
she's the start of a new generation.
And yeah, it's
whatever.
also like the Force doesn't belong just to the Skywalkers.
Again,
you know? Yeah.
that's what
Except
it's about, like,
she
that's-
is the reincarnated spirit of Anakin Skywalker, so
Yeah.
it kind of does.
So
but,
it
you
kind
know.
of does, maybe. But I don't know.
And
I
that's
don't know
why
if I
she
agree
was,
with that,
She
but-
was created to like smack Kylo Ren out of his like stupid, you know, I gotta be like Vader, you know? That's why, what is it? Anakin was like, I gotta do something about this. And so then he reincarnated himself, and it's Rey. Yep.
Well, hey, Kylo smashes his helmet, right? So I'm glad they kind of like shed that whole thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Like moving past that, like, no, he's not like a little fanboy. He's more than that. He's gonna be his own thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
I like they kept up him destroying property. Just like beating up the
Yeah.
elevator or whatever.
Just, yeah. Loves to destroy property.
Mm-hmm.
trying to think what other big points I had.
I think
Yeah.
this is another one thing we didn't really talk about too much. We kind of hinted on it, but we didn't like talk about it. Snoke dying. What'd you think?
Oh yeah, fucking.
I
kill
liked
him.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it because I was not expecting it.
Totally unexpected.
Yeah,
totally into it.
I was into it. And I like it. And now, like, what's going to happen next, you know?
Yeah,
Is Kylo
exactly.
Ren going to be the Grand Commander? He's terrible at it. He's already been so terrible at it multiple times. It's like, don't let this guy be the Grand Commander. He's going to get you all killed. But especially you, Hux. You're number one on the list.
Fucking Hux.
I really liked the prospect of being like him killing Snoke and saying, kill Snoke, kill the First Order, kill the Jedi, let's start fresh. I thought, you know, it's like, it's kind of a cool concept. I think almost like Rey should have even considered more of, like, because they could start a balance. He's the dark side, she's the light.
Yeah.
That keeps the
But I
balance,
think
man.
the problem was his heart wasn't in it. You know, he was just like saying things, and I think that's proven by how quickly he goes back to the First Order. You know, he could just leave.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to stay there. But instead, he's like, she beat me up, and she beat up all these guys, and she took my ship, and now we gotta kill her. It's like, I'm number one First Order. It's like, you
So
big
it's like
baby.
she's right in the end. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think that was that she couldn't really trust him to actually want to start new, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think he still wanted, like, too much control, you know? Under
Yeah,
control,
he just
everything.
wanted the control. He wasn't, like, actually genuine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he just, like, wanted to use her and then, like, be the ruler of the dark side. And
But it also could have potentially been cool of her accepting it and then working in that to try to keep bringing him back, but also, like, informing, you know, being essentially like a mole.
Well, maybe they'll do that in the new one. Like, they'll figure out a way to, like, balance it.
Yeah, I'm interested.
You
But
know?
also, he's killed so many people. He killed several planets worth of people, so he should probably be tried as a war criminal.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he should probably go to
I mean,
go to
he
war
is
court.
pretty evil. So.
Yeah, he's done a lot. Gotten a
Yeah.
lot of people killed.
Yeah. All right, let's Any last thoughts? I think we should probably wrap it up here. Any final thoughts before we?
Like that we got a
Before we
shirtless
kinda-
scene. We got a Kylo Ren shirtless scene.
Oh,
It
of
was
course.
I like how
totally
she points it out.
gratuitous, and I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. That's a good way to get her on your side. Okay, I see your
She's
tricks.
like,
yeah.
Can you put on like a cowl or something?
Yeah, I love that.
That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the humor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's humorous.
What were you gonna say, Zach?
Oh, just generally, I thought it was like a valiant effort, and more so than the other attempts thus far, but maybe not as successful as I was hoping. But at the end of the day, it's a tall order. So
Yeah.
like,
It's a real tall
Yeah.
order.
Yeah,
So,
some would
like-
call it the first order.
so
Oh,
at least it was
zing.
at least there was like some weird shit in there. There was definitely some weird stuff. The first hour was just fucking killer. I was all about
The
it.
first hour
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
So yeah, in conclusion, the green milk was fucking amazing. That's part of the movie. And then the video chat and Mary Poppins Leia was pretty brutal for me.
Were the bad
But-
parts.
Yeah. Green milk, Mary Poppins. How do you balance that?
It's a
I don't know.
balancing. There's a balancing act in everything.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a balance.
It's true. It's true. It's all about the balance, right?
Yep.
What would you guys rate this movie out of 5 stars? What would you give this movie?
I'd give it a
Zach.
solid 4. Oh, well, okay.
Okay,
well,
no, go,
I
go,
know,
Kelly.
I mean,
Go,
if you're
go,
gonna
go.
call
No,
out
you
Zach
already said
first,
it. No, Kelly,
I'd
what'd you
give it
say?
a solid 4 stars.
Nice.
I'd give it 4 stars as well.
I'll give it a light 3.5.
Okay.
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 I disagree with that, but
I
you're
understand.
entitled to.
I understand it, but
What?
To me, if I were judging it on like, for me, 4 stars are my 4 stars are due to quality, but also liking. If I were judging it purely technical, I think it'd probably be 3.5. But I also like the things I liked. I really liked, so that's gonna like bump it up some for me.
Well, for
It's also not perfect, so it doesn't deserve 5 stars.
Yeah.
Right. For
but
me,
also,
like,
it's like I'm not judging it just technically. Like I am judging it technically for sure, but it didn't.
but you're judging it overall.
Yeah, it like when I left the movie, I didn't have the feeling that I should have had. And it's like even the previous 2 movies, I had the feeling. And I didn't love it, but there were moments that got me, and I feel like when this ended, I didn't have it. And I feel like that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do
understand
and I think
your feelings, but I disagree, sir. I
I
disagree.
mean, it's fine.
Yeah. I think that you should go see it as soon as you can. Again.
Yeah, I mean,
Wes is
I
working for
think-
big Star Wars.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
I think you
yeah.
should see it again.
3.5 is not a bad rating. You know what I mean?
No, it's
still
not
a
a bad
good
rating.
movie.
You kind of rate. You give it like a rating of like good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
I think that's fair. I understand that. Yeah. Mine would be 4. I think, great but not love. But,
Yeah. Same here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well then, that's gonna wrap it up for our review of The Last Jedi. I feel like we could probably talk for hours and hours and
Yep.
hours and hours about that,
Seriously.
but we have to probably end it at some point. So, as always, you can find other episodes of our podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And if you enjoy this show, please consider leaving a review on iTunes. Every rating brings us to more listeners. And you can email us at listentousrantaboutmovies@gmail.com. Thank you to our producer, Sean Pierce. You too can be a producer and or supporter of this podcast by visiting our Patreon page and becoming a monthly patron for as little as $1. Visit www.patreon.com/LTURAM podcast. And the one last thing I gotta say is on our next episode, I know that on social media, I said that we would probably talk about a lot of movies that we didn't talk about today, but time restraints have kind of like put that off. So what we're going to do, Zach and I, in our next episode, we're going to be having our winter season blowout episode where we'll be discussing all the like latest great films that we haven't been able to talk about lately, like The Shape of Water, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, The Disaster Artist, Lady Bird, and a lot more. So we're going to talk about all those next time. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Until then, it was a good talk, everyone.
Yeah, good talk.
Kelly,
thanks
for
coming
joining
on.
us.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. It was great.
Nice.
It was great having you on.
Thanks for letting me
Love to
rap
have
with
you.
you guys
Oh, for
about
sure.
the wars and the stars.
Exactly. And you're welcome anytime. We'll have to have you on again.
Thanks.
Definitely.
So that's it. Till next time, guys.
Till next time.
Take care.